Hi everyone, this is Miss Toy. I have been taking lots of walks with my dog Ziggy and reading whenever I can. Today I thought I would read you a book called The Memory Stone. I chose this book because I got it in Canada. Over the summer, my family visited the small town in Canada where my Nana grew up. It was a long 13-hour drive, but it was absolutely beautiful. I was thinking this would be a good book to read because maybe you've never heard it before. The Memory Stone by Anne Louise MacDonald, illustrations by Joanne Olette. Your very first sleepover, said Aunt Pat. Isn't it wonderful? Laura grinned and climbed into bed. This bed is 10 times the size of mine. Have a good sleep, said her aunt, and turned out the light. Mom turns on the nightlight for me, Laura said quickly. I don't have a nightlight, said Aunt Pat, but when your mother and I were small, we loved to fall asleep by the light of the moon, and she tossed open the curtains. Twisted moon shadows lurched across the huge bed. Laura curled up in a corner and pulled the quilt over her head. Too spooky, she whispered. In the morning, Laura wiggled her chair up to the kitchen table. Mom gives me cornflakes for breakfast, she said. I don't have any cornflakes, said Aunt Pat, but when your mother and I were small, we loved scrambled eggs and molasses. Laura nibbled a tiny bite. Too yucky, she mumbled. After breakfast, Laura asked, Where's the television? I don't have a television, said Aunt Pat, but when your mother and I were small, we loved to go hunting for sneaky weeds, and she led Laura out to the garden. They discovered 2 dandelions hiding under the poppies. Laura tugged on one, but a bumblebee tumbled into her hair and a spider scurried over her fingers. Too scary, she sputtered. She ran back to the porch. On the top of the porch step perched a gray rock, a white rock, and a reddish-brown rock. I want, she muttered, and kicked the gray rock across the lawn. To go, she said out loud, and kicked the white rock into the hedge. Home, she hollered, and Laura, what are you doing? Aunt Pat snatched up the reddish-brown rock and glared. Then she took a deep breath and let it out slowly. Where are the other 2? She asked quietly. Why, Laura pouted, they're just dumb old rocks. No, they're memory stones. What's a memory stone? Asked Laura. Find them and I'll tell you, her aunt said. Laura searched the lawn and rummaged under the hedge until she found the 2 stones. Aunt Pat ran her fingertips over the gray stone and sighed. A spring day. She held the white stone up to the light and smiled. A walk in the woods. She touched the reddish-brown stone to her cheek and laughed. My best friend. That makes no sense, Laura grumbled. Said Aunt Pat. That'll have to show you. Come with me. They hiked up an old path, down a little hill, and through tall grasses to the beach. Aunt Pat spread her arms wide. Isn't the ocean wonderful? Laura shrugged. But what's a memory stone? She demanded. Aunt Pat winked. You'll know when you find it. Laura kicked at a mound of rocks and picked up a smooth white pebble. Is this a memory stone? Maybe, said Aunt Pat. Laura dropped it onto the mound. When they wiggled their toes in the warm, dry sand. They built mountains and rivers in the cool, wet sand. Laura found a dimpled pink rock. Is this a memory stone? Could be, said Aunt Pat. Laura dropped it into the sand. They waded in a tidal pool and counted 14 periwinkles and 12 tiny starfish. Laura found a shiny black rock. Is this a memory stone? Might be, said Aunt Pat. Laura dropped it into the water. They lay on the beach and listened to the waves whoosh on the rocks. Laura's fingers dug into the sand and closed around a warm stone. It was smooth and flat. She held it up. One side was blue-gray. The other side was golden yellow. It nestled in her hand as the sun slid into the ocean. When Laura rose to go, she dropped it into her pocket. That night, Laura was so tired she forgot about the memory stones. She forgot about moon shadows on the huge bed. She even forgot she wanted to go home. The next morning, Laura's mother came to pick her up. Laura bounded past the 3 stones on the porch step. Aunt Pat won't tell me what a memory stone is, she said. I can tell you, said her mother. She pulled a small reddish-brown stone out of her purse and touched it to her cheek. My best friend. Not you too, said Laura, and shoved her hands into her pockets. Her fingers closed around the smooth, flat stone. She held it up. One side was blue-gray like the ocean. The other side was golden yellow like the beach. It smelled salty. like periwinkles and wet sand mountains. She could almost feel her toes wiggle in the sand. She could almost hear the waves whoosh on the rocks. She could almost see the sun slide into the ocean. "What's that?" her mother asked. Laura giggled. "A day at the beach," she said. Thanks for listening. I hope you liked the story. Bye, friends.